Hi, I'm Morgan Dreamus with RT Book Reviews, and today I'm here with contemporary author Susan Mallery, who writes fabulous books. Yes, I absolutely love your books, especially because it seems right now contemporaries are maybe not being published as much, and so some readers have a little bit of harder time finding them, but you are always a safe bet to get charming stories of that we just want to jump into, including your new series. You started it last year, and it takes place in Fool's Gold, California.
It does.
And there's something missing from Fool's Gold. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Fool's Gold came about because I saw an article on the census, and I was trying to sleep. Because if you want to sleep, read an article on the census. And it talked about all the things the town could find out by its, from itself, the number of schools, how many people graduate. So I'm laying there thinking, or there are no men, which is what Fool's Gold finds out. They have a man shortage. It's kind of embarrassing. And they're not desperate, but they're really nervous about being portrayed as desperate, grasping, lonely women.
There's a lot of stereotypes that could go along with, not enough men.
So I wanted to avoid that, but Fool's Gold, it's fun. It's the kind of place you want to live. I'm having a great time with it. So this year we've got the next 3 books in the series, and I'm writing them as trilogies. I get a little frustrated with those ongoing series that they never wrap up. So I tend to write what I like, so I'm doing a trilogy every year and it wraps up. So it's like, phew. Plus, you don't have to go back and read the first ones, although it would be lovely if you did.
I highly recommend you go back and read the first ones, because in the first trilogy, out last year, we got a few really awesome heroes, including some athletes.
We did. I pulled a hero from a previous series I did. His name is Raul Moreno. He's a football player, and he had been a teenager in an old series I did, The Bakery Sisters, and I confess it wasn't me. I got fan mail saying, and this was for a previous book, saying, is one of the heroes Raul? And I thought, oh yeah, if I was smart, he would have been, but no. So as soon as I read the email, it's like, yes, he would be the perfect hero. So he's back. He's in the third one, Finding Perfect, Pia's hero. So this year we have triplet sisters. Their mother's dating, and they're not. And that's just sad.
That's just wrong, to have your mother out on the scene and you not being one of them.
Exactly.
Well, triplets, that must kind of pose some interesting quandaries there, because you've got, number one, sisters, so you have that whole rigmarole, but you also have maybe some competition, maybe looking at the other one, seeing what they're doing. Do you get into any of that?
I do by the third book, because by the third book, the first 2 are obviously together, because they are romances. I hope I'm not, spilling the beans. There is a happy ending. And Nevada's sort of out. I'm looking at, her sisters are not just engaged, but planning a wedding. And she doesn't even have a date. It's just sad. It's so sad. I felt so bad for her. But these are fun. They're funny. For those of you reading the story, Joe, who owns Joe's Bar, not a typical bar, it's done in mauve, and on the television is Project Runway and shopping. Guys have to go, and there's a pool table somewhere in the back for the boys, but it's a girls' bar. We find out Joe's story and why she's not with anyone in her past. That was very unexpected. I didn't know what it was until I started writing.
So do you find when you do start writing, is it more your characters choose what they're going to do, or do you have control over to say, no, I want you to go with him?
We share control. I initially set up the character, but if I'm partway through a book and a character tells me something, I don't make them do what I want them to do. If I've done my job and I've created them as real people, then you know how they're going to react, they know how they're going to react, and they do take on a life. If they don't take on their life, they're not real. And I know that sounds very schizophrenic, and I've seen a mental health professional and it didn't help. But I have to let them be once I create them, but I do create them initially, and I do have a plot, and we stick pretty close. They will end up with the hero, because they're not stupid. They get how great the guy is I've picked for them, but it doesn't always go as planned.
I was going to say, when Fool's Gold, they have a shortage of men, and like you said, they're not desperate, but it's definitely something to think about of men moving in, but you can't just have any men moving in. You've got to have special ones. So can you tell me, in your, I guess we'll call it your only series, because all the book have your only series, what makes these men special, and what can readers find to fall in love with?
Well, there's a couple of funny things. First of all, let me just say, with the trilogies, we had the perfect books initially. These are the only books, and we will continue that. So every year it'll be 3 books, Actually, next year it's 4. There's a Christmas book, but we will do the repetitive names, so you don't have to remember too much. Just like I read the yellow one and the blue one of the perfect books, but I haven't read the green one, so that's what we're going for. Well, this one's interesting because it starts with a reality show, because I love reality TV. It's mostly desperately bad, which is what I love about it. So there is a reality show set in Fool's Gold called True Love or Fool's Gold, and the problem is, men arrive, but you really don't want to fall for the guy who can just pick up his life, get on a bus, and drive to a strange town because he's heard, hey, there's some babes there. Really not the hero most.
Maybe not a quality man, at least.
Exactly. Not what we're looking for. So the first hero, his name is Finn, and his brothers are younger than him. He's been raising them. They want to be on this show. He wants them to finish college. So that's why he comes to town. The second hero, I love him. His name is Simon. He's a doctor. And I love Beauty and the Beast stories, and I don't do them very much because I don't really do that dark, brooding male. I'd love to. I love reading him, but I tend to write funny, and it doesn't work. But Simon he gets to be both Beauty and the Beast. He is gorgeous. He is like breathtaking on half his face, but he was burned as a child, so the other half is really scarred. And of course, he's scarred on the inside. So the way I get around this is he's with Montana. Montana has therapy dogs, and those of you who have dogs know you can't always predict your day. So let's just say it begins badly and goes downhill from there. So he's wonderful. I love Simon, I love Montana, and I love the therapy. I have a little poodle, and there's a little poodle who is an homage to my poodle. Her name is Cece, and she's a therapy dog. And the third book is Nevada's book, Only His. As a rule of thumb, I think most people would agree, it's never good to have an interview with someone who's seen you naked, especially if this is the first time you were seen naked by a man, and if the sex was bad, and if he called out the wrong name at the moment. I'm just saying. That's Nevada's hero. It's that guy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't wait to see how that all comes together.
Yes, it's fun. It was real. The third book is, I tend to write funny, as I said, anyway. The third book is by far the funniest, and my editor, when she finished, she called and said, I was a little worried about, and I'm not going to tell you what they were, but there were 2 elements. She was very worried about them. And she called and she's like, I love this so much. I was very worried, but I trusted you, and I'm glad. So that was a lot of fun.
So we're going to have the Only books in August, September, October.
Wow, you're good.
I know. And one more tiny little spoiler. In 2012, we're going to get some cowboys into California.
We are. We're getting Cowboys Come to Fool's Gold. I'll tell you, in Nevada's book, the third book, you will meet the 3 heroines for 2012. So it's Annabelle, Charlie, and Heidi the goat girl. And I know, and she lives with her grandfather. I couldn't get the wheelchair in there, and I did have to
go on the braids. Did she have the braids?
She wears braids. I had to go on Wikipedia because it's been a couple years since I read Heidi, but I thought, okay, just a little tiny bit because it's fun. We do get cowboys, and we are getting a special Christmas book. And also this year, they're doing, I don't know how to explain this. There's going to be an Fool's Gold short story available, which is kind of weird for me because I wrote these books last year. I'm already writing of the 3 out next year. I've written 1 3/4, and now I'm going to stop and in the space-time continuum step back and write a short story because these books take place sort of in real time. So they're basically April, May, June is the first book, June, July, August is the second, August, September, October is the time period they cover. So babies are born, and then the next year the baby's a year older. It's real time. So I have to stop and figure out where everybody was 6 months ago and write this Christmas short story. So as you read these books, Cameron McKenzie is the local vet. He appears in book 2. He's the hero. I know. And for those of you who haven't read them, you're already like, your eyes are bugging out.
No, but for those who haven't read them, I highly, highly recommend. And I can't wait for this new trilogy to come out. Thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.